In 2004, LucasArts and Pandemic Studios released the first Star Wars Battlefront game. Basically the Star Wars version of Battlefield 1942, this game was my first foray into the world of first-person shooters, and to this day is one of my favorite games. While Star Wars Battlefront 2, released in 2005, tends to get most of the attention, Battlefront 1 has a lot of interesting mechanics and features that aren't available in the sequel, such as flying vehicles and ground battles, the ability to go prone, calling in airstrikes with the probe droid, and gathering a squad to capture command posts. Pairing this with some truly iconic maps, and it's easy to see why I like this game so much. However, that's not to say that it's perfect. There are two glaring issues with Battlefront 1. The AI are very stupid. They cannot pilot any of the vehicles coherently, and often crash flying vehicles within seconds of takeoff. They are mostly incapable of capturing command posts without guidance, and are usually just standing around. The balance. Obviously, the Republic faction is the most popular to play as. They are completely outmatched in infantry battles by the CIS. The CIS is the most overpowered unit in the entire game, the Droideka, and there is no spawn cap, so these rolling bastards swoop in and mow down entire squads of clones in the blink of an eye. It makes winning 10 times as hard if there aren't vehicles available, which is the clone's one advantage. The LAAT gunship is designed to shred infantry, and its homing rockets and powerful lasers, you could just camp up high and kill as many troops as you'd like. Additionally, the ATTE is very powerful, albeit slow mobile command posts that can easily turn the tide of the battle. Given the balance issues between the Republic and CIS, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be a real challenge to win as the Republic on every map? And just to make it harder, what if I did it all with one life? To start this challenge, I thought I'd set some ground rules to keep things fair and interesting. Number 1. Vehicle use is allowed, only if it serves a strategic purpose. So, no gunship or ATTE camping getting 100 plus kills, but using the vehicles to transport troops and make pushes into enemy territory and take command posts is allowed. Number 2. Every clone unit must be used exactly 3 times during the challenge. Each unit has something it excels at, but the two that I knew would be the hardest were the clone pilot and the ARC trooper. Neither has a primary weapon that is good against infantry, so taking command posts is going to be tricky with these two. I knew it would have to be strategic with which unit I chose for each map, or else some of them would be impossible to win. Number 3. The maps must be played in chronological order. Number 3 actually made this challenge start off on the most difficult map for the Republic, Geonosis Spire. The Republic starts off with only 2 CPs, one of which is a destructible command post called Assembly Area. This is where all the Republic's OP vehicles spawn, so without it, the battle is virtually lost. The second one is this crashed Techno-Union ship called Derelict, which is one of the hardest to defend in the game. There's only one way in and out, and when 4 droidekas pull up at the same time, you know you don't stand a chance. The CIS starts with 6 CPs, Techno-Union ships 1 through 3, the Spire, and the West and East bunkers. So from the get-go, the Republic is bleeding tickets since the CIS has more flags, and they're on the offensive against some of the most defendable CPs in the game. Growing up, the only way I was able to win on this map was to get in a gunship and just camp for kills. It would usually take 100 plus just to squeak out a victory, but since that's against the rules, I tried out a couple of different strategies. I decided the Sharpshooter and ARC Trooper classes would not be a good fit for this map. While I could probably rack up a decent amount of kills with the sniper, the health for this unit is far too low, and there's barely any cover on this map to set up a sniper nest. While the CIS has vehicles in this map, they are pretty much inconsequential to the outcome since the Republic is so heavily loaded, so using the ARC Trooper would just be a waste of resources. Additionally, the Geonosian sonic cannons are literally worthless, so the threat of rapid cannon fire doesn't exist on this map. In this case, I decided to start with going out on foot as a regular clone trooper, and take the bunkers and Spire, finding my way between CPs. While this is possible to do, the game lacks a sprinting mechanic, and since Geonosis is one of the largest maps in the game, by the time you walk to capture another CP, the enemy has taken the one you just left. Couple this with the slow-witted AI who don't push in the right directions, and you really don't stand a chance. The second strategy I tried was the Jet Trooper strategy. Now, this solved my traveling issue, and since the Jet Trooper is one of the best, if not the best units in the game, I was able to kill infantry at the bunkers with relative ease. However, this still didn't solve the dilemma of the AI pushing in the wrong direction, and the Jet Trooper has less overall health, so a single blast of fire from an SBD could ruin the challenge in a heartbeat. The third strategy that I tried, and the one that seemed the most improbable, was to play as the clone pilot and commandeer an ATTE in the direction I wanted the AI to spawn. I would take CPs by dismounting the walker and attempting to kill droids with the laughably bad bolt caster and blaster pistol. But I would have a major advantage while piloting the walker, since the clone pilot gradually repairs any vehicle that they are driving. As you can see, the friendly AI are spawning like flies on the walker, so for what the walker lacks in speed, it makes up for in utility and firepower. After playing with this strategy for some time, I started to understand the direction the CIS was pushing in, and their movement patterns. Most of the droids would spawn at the Techno-Union ships, and then move along the west side of the Spire, heading straight to the derelict. I figured if I could get an ATTE to meet them head-on, I could fight my way to the west bunker, where a repair droid is conveniently located. The ATTE shreds through infantry and vehicles alike, and even though I was taking a lot of fire from wrist rockets and launchers, the repair function from the pilot was able to keep me alive long enough to get to the west bunker.
Destroy the Techno-Union ship. No.
I switched to the top turret here to hit some droids at the rear of the walker. This thing is insanely powerful, but can get tricky to aim when the walker is moving. Now this is where things got challenging. Disembarking the ATTE, I realized that my plan was working, although the SEPs were still focused on the derelict, and were just flanking my walker to get there. I knew that the derelict was a hard CP to defend, so I decided to let them have it, and take my chances with them destroying the assembly area. The walkers were the main part of my strategy anyway, and luckily, the AI piloted the other one around the east side of the Spire in a pincer move. As you can see, the pilot's blaster pistol doesn't do much against the droideka shield. I got his attention by shooting at him, but I was able to dodge the blaster bolts he sent my way quite easily. After I took the west bunker, I immediately ran into a firefight, where I was able to kill a few battle droids with my sidearm and boltcaster. I got hit, but using the health and ammo dispensers, I was able to heal myself and push to the Spire. The Spire isn't very important to the strategy, since foot soldiers won't do anything against the Techno-Union ships, but will keep the Republic at least even, CP-wise, to prevent the ticket bleeding. This lone clone trooper helps me capture the Spire, and just to make sure he sticks around, I use the Follow Me command. It's always a good idea to have a couple of troops follow you around when taking command posts to save time. I saw that the SEPs took the west bunker while I was waiting for the Spire to be captured, so I knew I had to move quickly once it was done. After I took the Spire, I realized the other walker is just outside the door, so I ran down the hill and used the walker to immediately take down 2 Techno-Union ships. If this walker wasn't here, this would have been another losing battle. The AI did a great job of moving towards the Techno-Union ships and damaging them, so all 3 were destroyed within a minute. Doing this forced the CIS to spawn at the remaining CPs, which initially seemed like a mistake on my part, especially since we were down by nearly 40 tickets. Commandeering the second walker, I decided to push to the east bunker, and conveniently, the AI and the other walker did the same with the west bunker. I just want to point out the ridiculous splash damage with the main ATTE cannons. This has always been one of my favorite vehicles from the Clone Wars, and it was featured prominently in my first stop-motion film. The enemy ended up taking the Spire, but two brave clone troopers were able to fend off the droids and retake it, while I focused on the bunker.
We've lost the Spire.
At this point, I know I have to kill as many droids as I can so I can get out of the walker and take this command post. Luckily, I have a whole squad of troopers to help me take it, which would not have happened without the walker.
Reinforcements are taking casualties.
I almost died while trying to kill this droidica when one of my troopers threw a thermal dead at me. Since I turned off friendly fire to avoid this type of thing, I was able to escape the situation and get more health using the dispenser packs. Then this Hailfire droid tried to run me over as well, but the droids were now dead and I could take the bunker. The west bunker was taken earlier, so now all that was left was the impossible to defend derelict. Suddenly, the battle seemed very winnable. All I had to do was get the walker in a good defensive position while the CIS tickets drained, and I could possibly win by taking all of the CPs.
We've captured the Spire.
Fun fact, during the Battle of Geonosis, a clone captain by the name of Devis, who was part of the Hawkbat battalion, risked his life to defend two critically injured clones in a shallow bomb crater. Even as spider droids walked overhead, he was able to hold off for 3 hours until the wounded could be evacuated. He would receive a medal for this, and then be promoted to commander by Commander Bly at the 327th Star Corps later in the war. I took the walker head-on into the derelict and absolutely decimated the droids defending it. I thoroughly believe that the clone pilot was essential to playing the map in this way. The large amount of wrist rockets and anti-tank fire that the AI put on vehicles can make it pretty hard to advance in any vehicle, especially ones as slow as the walker. The auto repair function proved to be critical for the success of this mission. I captured the derelict, which started the victory countdown, and that's all she wrote.
Captured a command post. Target acquired.
This was the most success I've ever had on this map. Typically, I would squeak by with like 20 Republic tickets remaining. I was able to win with 78 left over and 66 kills, which isn't too many in the grand scheme of things. Overall, this was a very difficult but fun way to begin the challenge, and I definitely didn't expect to do it with the clone pilot. Based on legends, it looks like the next battle chronologically would be Bespin, which was lost by the Republic before the evacuation of Renvar. Both Bespin maps are extremely fun, so I'm looking forward to sharing my strategies with you guys in the next video.